Good morning, big man. Good morning, my students. This is teacher Harry Torres Potter, right? Presenting from the Central School with our English class today. Good. How are you feeling this morning? Repeat with me. I am feeling wonderful. I am feeling so fantastic. Today we're going to be working with what is the popular novel around the world in 80 days. Go to Reading and Listening, Unit 6. Unit 6, right? Reading and Listening. Go to page number 88. Vayan a leer y escuchar la página 88, unidad 6. My students, let's begin quickly with what is the reading. Scan and complete the information on the map. Basically, my students, let's continue. In Jules Verne's popular novel, Around the World in 80 Days, the main character, Phileas Fogg, makes a bet. But my students, let's first start with the vocabulary on activity number 2. Repeat with me, please. Makes a bet. Repeat. Makes a bet. Main character, 19th century, boats and trains. Nowadays, accomplishment, fictional adventures. Makes a bet, hace una apuesta. Personaje principal, siglo XIX, botes y trenes, hoy en día, logros, accomplishment, logros. Fictional adventures, aventuras de ficción, o sea, no de verdad. Continue vocabulary. Ahora damos la lectura, primer párrafo, first paragraph. In Jules Verne's popular novel, Around the World in 80 Days, the main character, Phileas Fogg, makes a bet that he can travel around the world in 80 days. Because the story takes place in the 19th century, Phileas Fogg can only travel using transportation from that time period, such as boats and trains. While nowadays you can travel around the world in a few days, 80 days was once an impressive accomplishment. Phileas Fogg's fictional adventures have captured readers' imaginations for almost 150 years. But this story doesn't end there. Thus the reading continues, right guys? Continue the reading, please. Around the world in 80 days, alrededor del mundo en 80 días, es la lectura que seguimos. Paragraph number 2, párrafo número 2, vocabulary. Number 2. Based on route, forms of transportation. Basado en una ruta, formas de transporte. Okay? Let's continue the reading. Leer párrafo número 2. Michael Palin is a famous world traveler. He does travel programs for the BBC. His first program, also called Around the World in 80 Days, was based on Jules Verne's novel. Michael Palin traveled around the world in 80 days using Fogg's route and 19th century forms of transportation. Do you understand, my students? Now, paragraph number 3, párrafo 3, vocabulario. Pongan atención en lo que leemos, vocabulary, para sacar el contexto. Bound, con destino a. Bound, across. Mediterranean Sea. Train, camel. Boarded and arrived. Bound, con destino a un lugar. Bound for Japan, bound for Germany. Across, a través de. Mediterranean Sea, el mar Mediterráneo. Tren, camello. Boarded, montó un barco o etc. Arrived, llegó a. Now let's continue, and also vocabulary for paragraph 3. Repeat, crossed. También es cruzó, atravesó. Sail, repeat, sail. Atlantic Ocean, reached and final destination. Cross, atravesó, se navegó el océano Atlántico, alcanzó o llegó a destino final, como la película, like the movie. My student, let's continue with paragraph number 3. Paragraph number 3. Párrafo 3. Michael's journey started in London on a train bound for Italy. By day 2, he was in Venice. From there, he traveled by boat to Athens. and from Athens across the Mediterranean Sea. He reached Alexandria, Egypt on day 7. In Egypt, he traveled by train and camel and boarded a boat going to India. He arrived in Mumbai, India on day 25. From there, he took a train and arrived in Madras on day 29th. He crossed the Indian Ocean by boat, arriving in Singapore on day 38, Shanghai, China on day 46, and Yokohama, Japan on day 50. From there, he crossed the Pacific Ocean to Los Angeles. He arrived on day 64. He traveled by train across the United States to get to New York on day 70. Finally, he sailed across the Atlantic Ocean to reach his final destination, in London on day 79. He traveled more than 45,000 kilometers. My students, he traveled many destinations, right? England, right? United States, Italy, France, right? China, Rome, Italy, many destinations, my students. Atravesó muchos destinos. Let's check the answers now. Preguntas y respuestas. Paragraph number 3, for activity number 3. Write 1, 2, or 3 to indicate correct paragraph. Pongan párrafo 1, 2 y 3 para indicar párrafo correcto de acuerdo a la lectura 1 al 4, lectura 1 al 4, que es 1, 2 o 3. Now, number 1. This paragraph is a description of Michael Pollan's trip. Number 1. This paragraph is a description of Michael Pollan's. Which one is it? It is number 3. Paragraph number 3. Párrafo 3. Paragraph number 3 is number 1. Number 2. This paragraph gives background information on Michael Pollan. Da información de Michael Pollan. Which paragraph? Which paragraph? ¿Cuál párrafo, mis estudiantes? Number 2. Number 2. Paragraph number 2, right? In the book. It talks about Michael Pollan. Number 3. This paragraph gives information in chronological order. In orden cronológico. Chronological order. Which one? Paragraph number 3. El párrafo 3 de nuevo. Paragraph number 3. Talks about, my students, chronological order. Okay, number 4. Number 4. Number 1. This paragraph introduces the book Around the World in 80 Days. Presenta e introduce el libro Alrededor del Mundo en 80 días. ¿Cuál? Which one? Paragraph number 1, my students. This one, number 1, introduces the book Around the World in 80 Days. Okay, activity 4. Activity 4. Circle and true or false. Verdadero o falso. Phileas Fogg lived 150 years. ¿Cuántos años? 150 años. True or false? Is false. No, he did not live that long. Number 2. Jules Verne wrote Around the World in 80 Days. Jules Verne. ¿Lo escribió Jules Verne? Number 2, my students. Let me check here. Yes, true. True. Jules Verne wrote it. Number 3. Michael followed the same route as Phileas Fogg. ¿Siguió la misma ruta Michael que Phileas Fogg? ¿La misma ruta? True, correcto. True, correcto. La instrucción era read and circle, true or false. Number 4. He used modern forms of transportation. Modern forms of transportation. Usó formas modernas de transporte. True or false? ¿Verdadero o falso? My students, false. He used old forms. Él utilizó antiguas formas de transporte del siglo XIX. Number 5. Number 5. He traveled from Greece to Italy. From Greece to Italy. From Greece, maybe around here, to about Italy. Is true, correct or false, my students? From Greece to Italy. Number 5. False. False. Falso. Era de Italia a Grecia. Que viajó. Okay. Number 6. It took 64 days to reach Japan. 64 days to reach Japan. Is false. False. No tomó 64 días. It didn't take 64 days. It took 50 days, tomó 50 días. Number seven. Michael's journey took less than 80 days. Less than 80 days. True or false? El viaje entero tomó menos de 80 días. Sí, correcto. Is true. 79 días, 79 days. My students, this is a very nice class. As you can see, we talked about around the world in 80 days. Very exciting story, right? My students, thank you for the class. It has been a wonderful class. And my students, continue and check your vocabulary that you can learn more. And also, you can do some listening later. The friends, right? Paris friends, right, guys? Remember that what is the Eiffel Tower? And modes of this is also communication, right? With virtual reality. My students, thank you so much for class. Have a wonderful day. Enjoy your day, right? Enjoy your day. Thank you.